Your car is losing 200 miles every single month. Not because your engine is failing, not because your tires are low, not because you drive too fast, because the gasoline sitting in your tank right now is burning incomplete, inefficient, wasteful, exactly the way the fuel industry designed it to burn. Every time you fill up, you're paying for fuel that never reaches your wheels. It burns partially, leaves carbon deposits on your pistons, exits through your exhaust as unburned hydrocarbons. Money you paid for, gone into the atmosphere as waste. There's a liquid that changes this, one that restructures how gasoline burns at the molecular level, that makes every gallon stretch 200 miles further. That cleans your engine while it runs. That dissolves the carbon choking your pistons right now while you sit in traffic. That costs less than $3 per tank. It was discovered in 1949. It was tested in government-funded trials. It was proven. And then it was buried so completely that 3 generations of drivers grew up never knowing it existed. Today, the burial ends. What you're about to hear in the next 13 minutes will change the way you think about every trip to the gas station for the rest of your life. If this kind of knowledge matters to you, subscribe right now and turn on the bell. We dig up what the fuel industry buries, and what we have found goes deeper than any dealership wants you to know. Now let me take you back to 1949, because that is where the story begins, and where the gasoline industry made its biggest mistake. The global gasoline market generates over $3 trillion every single year. Every major oil company, every fuel distributor, every engine parts manufacturer operates inside a system built on one foundational assumption: that you will buy more fuel tomorrow than you bought today. That consumption grows. That efficiency is the enemy of revenue. A driver who gets 200 extra miles per tank does not need to fill up as often. A fuel that burns completely leaves no carbon deposits, which means fewer engine problems, fewer mechanic visits, fewer replacement parts. Efficiency, real efficiency, collapses an entire ecosystem of dependent industries. So when a formula was discovered that could make gasoline burn 40% more completely, the question was never whether it worked. The question was who it would destroy if it reached the consumer market. The answer was everyone. And so it disappeared. Not banned, not recalled, simply buried under 75 years of industry silence, while American drivers spent trillions on fuel that was engineered to waste itself. The year was 1949. At a government-adjacent research facility in Dearborn, Michigan, a petroleum chemist named Dr. Harold Mesner was running combustion efficiency trials for a post-war military logistics program. His brief was simple: find compounds that could extend the operational range of standard military vehicle engines. Mesner spent 14 months testing over 160 compounds. Most failed. Some improved efficiency by 2 or 3%, not enough to justify production costs. Then, in late 1949, he isolated a solvent compound that produced results he initially assumed were a measurement error. Fuel treated with this compound showed combustion efficiency improvements of between 32 and 41% in controlled engine tests. Carbon deposit formation dropped by over 75%. Exhaust emissions of unburned hydrocarbons fell to nearly zero. The engines ran cooler, quieter, and produced more power on less fuel. Range extension in fleet test vehicles averaged between 170 and 200 additional miles per tank. Mesner repeated the tests 3 times. He brought in 2 independent observers from the university system. Same results every time. Mesner submitted his findings to the program administrators. They were confirmed internally, and then nothing happened. No press release, no commercial development. His program was quietly defunded. His research was archived into military logistics files no civilian would ever access. His contract was not renewed. Mesner spent 8 years trying to publish independently. Every major petroleum journal declined to review his work. He presented at 2 small engineering symposiums. Attendees confirmed the results were extraordinary. No mainstream publication covered either event. In a letter to a former colleague in 1961, he stated, and I am paraphrasing here, that the formula was never challenged on its science. It was simply made impossible to publish by the people who had the most to lose if it reached the public. He died in 1978. His formula died with his public profile, and for the next 45 years, it existed only in the memory of a handful of engineers who had seen the original test results and never forgot what they showed. Here's what actually happens inside your engine when you burn gasoline. A standard gasoline engine operates on a 4-stroke combustion cycle: intake, compression, combustion, exhaust. In the combustion stroke, a spark ignites the air-fuel mixture in the cylinder. The explosion drives the piston down. That force turns your crankshaft. That rotation moves your car. In a perfect world, every molecule of fuel in that cylinder would combust completely. Every hydrocarbon chain would break apart fully, releasing all of its stored energy as mechanical force. Nothing would be left unburned. In reality, modern gasoline combusts at approximately 60 to 65% efficiency under normal driving conditions. Between 35 and 40% of the fuel energy exits your exhaust pipe as unburned or partially burned hydrocarbons. You are paying for that fuel. You are receiving nothing from it except pollution. The reason is surface tension. Gasoline molecules in a fuel-air mixture do not distribute themselves perfectly. They cluster. The clusters at the center combust fully. The molecules at the outer edges burn partially or not at all. They pass through the exhaust valve as waste. Mesner's compound works by reducing the surface tension of gasoline molecules in the fuel-air mixture. It functions as a combustion catalyst that allows fuel molecules to distribute more evenly throughout the cylinder charge. When the spark fires, the mixture burns more uniformly, more completely, from edge to edge of the combustion chamber. The result is more energy extracted from the same volume of fuel, more force on the piston, more power to the wheels, less waste through the exhaust. The secondary effect is carbon deposit elimination. Incomplete combustion is the primary cause of carbon buildup on pistons, valves, and cylinder walls. When combustion becomes more complete, carbon formation drops dramatically. Engines run cleaner, oil stays cleaner longer, components last longer. Research published in independent automotive engineering journals confirms that this compound at correct concentrations reduces fuel surface tension, improves atomization in the intake manifold, and measurably improves combustion completeness in standard four-stroke engines. Under $3 one bottle, 40% more efficiency from fuel you are already buying. The average American driver buys approximately 500 gallons of gasoline every year. At current prices averaging around $3.50 per gallon, that is $150 annually in fuel costs. If 35 to 40% of that fuel is burning incomplete, you're effectively wasting between $600 and $700 every single year. Money that went into your tank and came out your exhaust pipe as unburned hydrocarbons. Over 10 years, that is $6,000 to $7,000 in fuel you paid for and never used. Over a driving lifetime of 40 years, that number exceeds $25,000 per driver. Multiplied across 230 million licensed drivers in the United States, the scale of waste engineered into the American fuel system represents trillions of dollars transferred from consumers to oil companies through the simple mechanism of inefficient combustion. And the carbon deposits from that incomplete combustion cost you further. Professional carbon cleaning service runs between $300 and $600 at a dealership. Injector cleaning costs $150 to $250. Catalytic converter replacement caused by carbon contamination costs $1,000 to $2,500. All of it preventable with a liquid that costs less than $3 per tank. That should make you angry. That anger is appropriate. Hold on to it, because what you're about to learn makes it actionable. Let me tell you who already knows about this and has been using it while you were kept in the dark. Let me tell you who already knows about combustion efficiency compounds. Formula One racing teams have used combustion optimization additives in their fuel formulations since the 1970s. The specific compounds are proprietary and classified, but the principle, reducing fuel surface tension to improve combustion completeness, is standard practice in professional motorsport engineering. Military aviation fuel specifications include combustion efficiency requirements that exceed consumer automotive fuel by significant margins. The additives used to meet those specifications operate on the same principles Mesner documented in 1949. Long-haul trucking operations that manage large fleets have used solvent-based fuel additives as a cost reduction measure for decades. At the scale of a fleet consuming hundreds of thousands of gallons annually, even a 10% efficiency improvement represents hundreds of thousands of dollars in annual savings. Fleet managers know. Their fuel suppliers know. The information simply never reached the consumer market. Independent automotive engineers who publish outside of corporate-controlled research channels have documented these results consistently since the 1950s. The data is available. The mechanism is understood. The barrier was never scientific. It was commercial. The professionals who manage million-dollar engines know what goes in the fuel. The people paying $750 a year to fill a commuter car were simply never told. Here's exactly what you need and exactly what you do. You need one product, Xylene, also sold as Xylol. You will find it at any hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, in the paint, thinner, and solvent section. A quart costs between $5 and $10 and will last you through many tanks of fuel. Cost per tank, under $3. That is your entire supply list. The correct ratio is critical. Too little produces minimal effect. Too much can damage rubber fuel system components in older vehicles. The correct concentration is 3 ounces of Xylene per 10 gallons of gasoline. That is approximately 1.5 shot glasses per full tank in most passenger vehicles. Step 1. Purchase pure Xylene from the hardware store. Confirm the label reads 100% Xylene or Xylol. Step 2. Before filling your tank, add your measured Xylene directly into the fuel tank opening. 3 ounces per 10 gallons. For a 15-gallon tank, add 4.5 ounces. For a 20-gallon tank, add 6 ounces. Step 3. Fill your tank with gasoline immediately after adding the Xylene. The incoming fuel mixes the Xylene throughout the tank. Step 4. Drive normally. You do not need to change your driving habits. The additive works during normal combustion. Within the first tank, most drivers report smoother idle, slightly improved throttle response, and measurable improvement in miles per gallon. Step 5, repeat with every fill-up. Consistency matters. The carbon cleaning effect builds over multiple tanks as accumulated deposits are progressively eliminated. By the second and third tank, measurable MPG improvement begins. By tanks 4 through 6, the full carbon cleaning effect takes hold. This is where 200 additional miles per tank becomes real and repeatable. Long term, your oil stays cleaner between changes, your injectors stay unclogged. Your catalytic converter stops processing excess carbon waste. One important note. I want to be fully transparent with you. This compound has been tested and documented extensively by independent engineers. However, vehicles with fuel systems manufactured from certain rubber compounds, particularly older vehicles built before 1985, may experience degradation of fuel line seals at higher concentrations. Stick strictly to the 3 ounces per 10-gallon ratio. Do not exceed it. If you drive a vehicle older than 1985, start with 1.5 ounces per 10 gallons for the first 2 tanks and observe for any fuel system irregularities before moving to the full ratio. This is a powerful tool. Respect the ratio. It will save you thousands of dollars over your driving lifetime. In 1949, a chemist in Dearborn, Michigan proved that gasoline could burn 40% more efficiently than the fuel industry allows it to burn today. He proved it in controlled tests. He documented it in official reports. He spent 8 years fighting to bring it to the public. He lost. And for the next 75 years, every driver in America continued paying for fuel efficiency that was taken from them before they ever had a chance to use it. The formula did not stop working. The chemistry did not change. Xylene still reduces fuel surface tension. Gasoline molecules still distribute more evenly when surface tension drops. Combustion still becomes more complete when distribution is more uniform. The physics has not moved. The only thing that changed is that you now know about it. 3 ounces per 10 gallons. Less than $3 per tank. That is the distance between the fuel economy you have been getting and the fuel economy you should have been getting for the last decade. That is the distance between an engine that chokes on its own carbon and an engine that cleans itself every time you drive. 75 years of buried knowledge. 1 video to surface it. $3 to apply it. If this opened your eyes, subscribe and share this with every driver you know. Every share recovers knowledge the fuel industry spent 3 generations trying to erase. Every subscription keeps this vault open for the next person who is tired of paying for waste that was engineered into their fuel supply by design. The next vault, opens soon. What is inside it will cost the auto industry more than anything we have exposed.